What happens when the guy who literally built the government's cartel money tracking systems decides to help a cartel beat those same systems? That's not a hypothetical. That's the actual case against Paul Campo, former deputy chief of the DEA's Office of Financial Operations. He knew every banking watch list, every surveillance tool, every financial tripwire. So how do you catch someone like that? You use a fake cartel member, a crypto test run, and a whole lot of patience. Let me know in the comments if you saw this one coming. Most corruption cases involve someone who had access to secrets and sold them. Campo's case is different because he didn't just have access. He built the system itself. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. For 25 years, Campo worked inside the DEA's Office of Financial Operations. That's the unit responsible for tracking how cartel money moves. Through banks, through crypto exchanges, through shell companies set up in different countries. It's not a glamorous job, but it's one of the most important ones in federal law enforcement because drug trafficking runs on money. Stop the money, you hurt the operation. And Campo wasn't just a regular agent in that unit. He was the deputy chief, so he wasn't just following the playbook. He helped write it. The watch lists that flag suspicious accounts, the protocols that trigger an international wire transfer review, the coordination tools that let DEA talk to foreign financial regulators. Campo had a hand in shaping all of that. Those tools are still being used by agents working cases right now today. So when he retired in 2016, he had something incredibly valuable in his head. And he knew it. He started a private consulting business, and the pitch was straightforward. I spent 25 years inside the government's financial investigation unit, and I can help you understand how that system works. That's not automatically a crime, right? Banks hire former regulators all the time. Compliance firms pay good money for people who know how federal agencies think and what they look for. It's a whole industry. But according to prosecutors, at some point Campo's consulting work crossed a line, a very serious line, because the client that ended up at the center of this case wasn't a bank or a hedge fund. It was CJNG, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. If you're not familiar with CJNG, they're one of the most powerful and brutal drug trafficking organizations operating right now. They move massive amounts of fentanyl, meth, and cocaine into the US, and they've been connected to hundreds of murders and military-style attacks on Mexican law enforcement. Earlier this year, the US government officially designated them a foreign terrorist organization. The same legal category used for groups like ISIS and Hezbollah. So this isn't a small street gang we're talking about. What prosecutors say Campo allegedly offered CJNG was something almost no one else could provide. Not just general advice about how financial investigations work, but a detailed insider explanation of the exact surveillance systems built to catch cartel money moving through the financial system. Every banking alert that gets triggered when a large cash deposit hits a certain threshold. Every red flag that goes up when money moves through specific countries or account types. Every point in the process where a transaction might get reviewed by a federal agent, Campo allegedly knew all of it because he helped design all of it. Think about what that means practically. If you're moving drug money and you know exactly which transactions trigger a federal review, you can structure everything just below those thresholds. You can route money through the gaps. You can essentially use the government's own rulebook against itself. According to the indictment, this whole thing started with a consulting business, a reputation that opened certain doors, and a willingness to take a meeting with someone he probably should have walked away from immediately. And that first meeting is where investigators had already set up and were waiting. Investigators didn't stumble onto Campo. They built a specific trap for someone who knew exactly how traps work. The government used a confidential informant, call him CS1, who posed as a cartel-connected money broker. His job was to approach Campo and his associate, Robert Sensi, and see how far they'd actually go. Sensi isn't a random guy either. He had prior convictions for mail fraud and stealing $2.5 million, and prosecutors say there's evidence he once tried to get military helicopters for a Middle Eastern country. So these two weren't exactly an unlikely pair. The first thing CS1 proposed was a test run. That's standard in this world. Before anyone talks about moving millions, you do a small job first. Prove you're real, prove you can deliver. So Campo and Sensi allegedly helped convert a smaller amount of cash into cryptocurrency. Just a dry run. A proof of concept. What they didn't know is that every message, every phone call, every location ping from their devices was already being captured. The government had recordings, cell phone data, emails, all of it. And Campo apparently was not shy about talking openly during these meetings. Here's the detail that really stands out. During one of those restaurant meetings with CS1, Campo allegedly took out his DEA badge and put it right on the table. A retired federal agent sitting across from someone he believed was connected to a cartel, using his old badge as a way to say, "I'm the real thing. I have real access, trust me." That's the move of someone who thought his credentials were his biggest selling point. And in a way, he was right. That's exactly what made him useful to the people he thought he was working with. After the test run checked out, the conversations got much bigger. The full plan, according to prosecutors, involved laundering around $12 million in drug proceeds for CJNG. Campo and Sensi allegedly converted roughly $750,000 into cryptocurrency. Money they believed was cartel cash coming straight from drug sales. What actually happened to that money is that it went directly into a government-controlled account. Every dollar they thought they were cleaning for the cartel was going straight into a federal evidence file. Then came what prosecutors describe as a shopping list, and this is where the case goes way beyond financial crime. Campo and Sensi allegedly discussed getting AR-15S M4 carbines, which are military-style rifles used by U.S. forces, grenade launchers, RPGs, which are rocket-propelled grenades, and commercial drones. All of it meant to support CJNG operations on the ground in Mexico. That's not consulting work. That's arming a foreign terrorist organization. And on top of the weapons, they allegedly discussed financing a shipment of 220 kilograms of cocaine, worth around $5 million, and expected to pocket 30% of whatever that load brought in. So this one scheme covered money laundering, weapons trafficking, and drug distribution all at once. CS1 documented every step of it. Every meeting, every conversation, every transaction. Campo allegedly never once suspected that the cartel rep sitting across from him was feeding everything back to federal investigators in real time. Let me know in the comments whether you think someone with Campo's level of experience should have spotted that. Because that question goes right to the heart of what happens next in court. Campo isn't the first DEA agent to flip. At least 16 agents have faced criminal charges over the past decade. Money laundering, leaking intel, working both sides. But none of them allegedly walked out with a blueprint of the entire financial surveillance system in their head. So the real question is structural. If someone can spend 25 years building those tools and then sell a roadmap around them, what does that say about how agencies track former insiders? Don't forget to like and subscribe to follow this as it moves through court. Both men are held without bail, facing 4 counts: narco-terrorism, terrorism, narcotics distribution, and money laundering. The government has 17 phones, device data, location records, and hours of recordings ready to go.